Hello everyone, this is Sextus, and I'm here to tell you that I'm going to be starting a new Let's Play series of a DS game that I hold very dear to my heart. Yeah, so we're doing 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors, and hold on a sec, let me get this. The opening will play again in a bit. But yeah, while I'm waiting, this is a text-heavy point-and-click adventure made by Aksys Games and Chunsoft, and it's awesome, and it's got a really great story, so there we go. Oh, I see. Alright. Hold on a sec, it'll start up again. There we go. Okay, there. So that's the opening. Pretty awesome. So yeah, let's get this game started. Let's see. I'm gonna erase data. See. Yeah. Yeah, I just deleted some of the data so that. Cause whatever. Let's start this. This game is fiction. All names, characters, and incidents portrayed in this production are fictitious. A loud noise startled Junpei awake, and his eyes snapped open. As they adjusted to the light, he realized that he didn't recognize his surroundings. Ow! With a crack, Junpei's head connected with something metal. He rolled over and threw out his hand to steady himself, but he found himself groping at empty air. His balance lost and his still fuzzy mind struggling to understand what was going on, Junpei tumbled down to the cold, gray floor. Ouch! God damn it! God, what the hell? Junpei glared around the room, still trying to determine where he'd woken up. The fall had shaken the last cobwebs of sleep from his mind, and finally he understood where he'd fallen from. It was a bed, a 3-level bunk bed in fact. Junpei had fallen, apparently, from the topmost bunk. His shoulder hurt, his knee hurt, his hip hurt, his entire body hurt. He could feel a bump forming on his forehead, where he'd slammed against the low ceiling. He wondered if that bump was the reason he'd felt his vision wavering a bit, but that seemed unlikely. At first, he thought the tremor that ran through his legs was just another effect of his rude awakening, but as he looked around, he realized it was real. The whole room was shaking. Was it an earthquake, he wondered? It didn't seem likely. It was shaking far too quickly for an earthquake. Then again, Junpei had no idea what it was, if not an earthquake. He tried to tell himself it was important. Junpei rubbed the growing bump on his head and gingerly climbed to his feet. His balance regained, he finally took his first good look around the room, and muttered to himself, "Where am I?" His pain momentarily forgotten in the face of the confusion of his circumstances, Junpei looked around the room once again. Minutes passed while Junpei struggled to get his bearings. Then, as suddenly as they had begun, the tremor ceased. A cold silence fell over the room. From somewhere far away, Junpei could hear the sound of metal squeaking. He felt his stomach tighten. There were 1,000 things that the sound could have been, but none of these things he could think of were good. In an attempt to distract himself, Junpei looked around the room once more. There was a stove that looked more antique than functional. The 3-level bunk bed had mattresses that were so thin that they were little more than blankets. On the other side of the room was an identical bed, and set in a drywall between the beds was a slightly dirty iron door. The first thing Junpei noticed about the door was the number roughly emblazoned across it. On the surface of the door, in red paint, someone had written 5. 5. What's this 5 mean? Suspicious and still utterly confused, Junpei approached the door, slowly. Standing, at last, in front of the door, Junpei grabbed hold of the L-shaped handle. A push yielded no movement, and a pull, the same result. A few more tries cemented the truth in Junpei's mind. It wouldn't open. It didn't matter how much he pushed and shoved. The handle won't budge. Next to the door was an odd-looking device that reminded Junpei of a card reader. It didn't take a genius to figure out that the odd-looking device was keeping the door shut. Junpei knocked hard on the door. "Hey! Hello? Is anyone there? Open the door!" There was no response. Junpei threw his left fist into the door, and stopped. What the hell is this? He wasn't really sure what else to say. On his left wrist was a bracelet of a sort he'd never seen before. In the center of was a large LCD display. It looked nothing else so much as a watch, but it clearly wasn't that. After all, it showed only a single number. 5. That's the same as the door. True, the numbers were the same, but he had no idea what they might mean. All he knew was that it was strange and new, and he wanted it off. Junpei flipped his hand over, as if to remove a watch, but the other side of the bracelet was solid. No buckle, no clasp, nothing. He sighed and flipped the thing back over. There were a number of rivets around the rim of the face, perhaps. On a watch, they might be dials for adjusting date or time, but on his bracelet, they did nothing. Junpei was at a loss. What was he going to do? Growing more desperate, he began to tug at it. However, Erng! Damn! Ugh, it's no good. Damn thing won't come off. A steel ring ran from the face around Junpei's wrist and back into the face. He wouldn't be pulling the bracelet off any time in the near future. What the hell is the deal with this thing? Frustration and separation were beginning to mix as the reality of the situation began to dawn fully on Junpei. So much was happening and none of it made sense. Junpei felt as though he were about to explode. Where am I? And why the hell am I here? Why? And what the hell happened to me? It was at that moment that he noticed a window. The window was round, rimmed and riveted brass, like a window from an early 20th century ship. What? Wait, am I in a ship? Junpei walked slowly toward the window. He could see nothing beyond it but thick, impenetrable darkness. Junpei squinted, trying to see something, anything. It was at that moment. Oh shit. Oh shit. What the? You gotta be kidding me. What the hell is going on here? A crack split the glass of window, and for a moment Junpei stared at it, and then the window burst and the water began to pour into the room. What the hell? God damn it! Junpei yelled and spun around, his feet slipping on the water already coming through the window. He ran for the door. Hey! Anyone? Is anyone there? Come on, if you're there, say something. There was no reply. As Junpei screamed and pounded on the door, the water began to rise. It was now ankle deep on the floor and rising quickly toward his knees. Things were not looking good for Junpei. Not good at all. He needed to find a way out, and quickly. Junpei ran his hand across his forehead, brushing sweat out of his eyes, and looked around the room. Seek a way out. Alright, first puzzle of the game. As you can see, we are being threatened by what appears to be a frozen cascade of water. A mobile frozen cascade of water. So yeah, let's start puzzling. Operations during an escape. During an escape, you can move to different parts of the room by touching the bottom screen. Since many areas require very exact selection, we recommend you use the stylus. Searching during escape. During an escape, you can touch the background to search anywhere in the room. Areas you can investigate will be highlighted in yellow the moment you touch them. Depending on the nature of the location you touch, you might find an item or a hint. Begin searching by touching places on the bottom screen. How to move. Touch the triangle icon on the bottom screen. Doing so will change the viewing angle of the room and move you to different locations. You can do the same thing by pressing the left, right, and down on the control pad. Bird's eye view. If you want to know where you are, touch X on the camera icon on the bottom screen. This will show you where you are and what direction you're facing. Saving during an escape. Pressing start will allow you to save. If you want to quit, we recommend pressing start. Purpose of the escape. The purpose of each escape is to get out of the room. How do you do that depends on the room. You'll need to search all throughout the room to discover that what you'll need to do to get out. Search for hints and items that may help you find a way out. Yeah, so point and click adventure type stuff right here. Throughout the game you will be locked in a variety of rooms that you need to escape, although this is the only one where it's life threatening, whereas on the other ones it's just you're locked in there and you have to get out to progress. So yeah, let's get to getting our way out. First thing to do is over here there's some stuff. You want to pick up this, tutorial, about items. During an escape, investigating certain parts of the room will allow you to obtain items. Once you've obtained an item, you'll be able to go to the item screen. Touching L item on the top left will take you to the item screen. While on the item screen, you will be able to investigate, hold, and combine items that you found. If you want to investigate an item you found, touch the screen for that item in the item screen, and then touch search R in the top right corner of the bottom screen. So yeah, we got faux frame. You can use the stylus to rotate this stuff since they're all polygons. Press search, and it just tells you a little bit about it. Sometimes it tells you there's screws on it. Investigate with an item. Touching an item while on the item screen will select that item. While the item is selected, touching L back will return you to the room. Investigation screen. If you look down at the bottom left corner of the bottom screen, you should see the icon. This will show you that you are holding the item. If you hold an item while investigating the room, you may trigger a reaction. Investigate suspicious areas with different items to see if anything happens. Pressing up on the control pad will select another item for you to hold. Okay, next thing you do, pick this up. It's a code you'll need for unlocking some stuff in this room. Gonna rotate it a little bit. There we go. See? It's one of two of these slips you'll get. See, back. Okay, so get yourself back here, turn, investigate this thing. First, look at this. Well, let's see if there's anything in here. Huh, looks like there is. Pick up the key. A key? Yeah, there's a little blue key in the bottom of this pot. Odd. Okay, and now you go in here. The door to the stove. Well, it opens easily enough. Sure wish the door to get out here was that easy to open. Well, that solves the mystery of whether or not this stove has been used before. What's this? It looks red. Yep, you get a screwdriver. Here's a new feature, combining. So, press the combine button up here and pick another thing. You can combine a screwdriver with this. Press X to combine. Well, the screwdriver got those screws off easily enough, and here's the picture. And now you get a picture of an old cruise liner, and you turn around on the back, bam, code that allows you to decipher these notes, the notes from bulletin board. Combining items, as I just explained. If you take two items you found and combine them, they may turn into something else. To do this, select an item on the item screen and touch X combine on the top part of the screen. Then select the second item and touch X, combining. If the two items can be combined, you will receive a new item. If they cannot be combined, nothing will happen. So yeah, if you didn't notice, this first part is pretty much completely tutorial, and the scene after this is like 25 minutes of scrolling through plot exposition. It's kind of necessary to set up the entire game, so hang with me on it. Okay, let's see, what key did we get? Oh, right, blue key. Yeah, you can click this to swap through the things and use them on your environment. Okay, so you're going to look at this, click here. No dice, it's Loctite. Let's see if there's anything in the keyhole. Okay, select the keyhole with the key. Alright, let's see what happened if I put this blue key in the keyhole. And nothing. I guess I'm going to need some sort of code for the dial. Minigames. During an escape, your investigation may trigger one of the several minigames. All operations for the minigames are done by touching the bottom screen. Some minigames will require you to manipulate something, while others will only require you to apply the right object or touch the right thing. Operation instructions. Touching the dial will cause it to move to the next number. Enter 4 numbers this way and then touch the key. Only if numbers are correct, it will unlock. Okay, so there's another slip you get. I didn't pick it up, but I'll get it after this. So the code is 0263. Oops. Click the key, and alright, let's see if these numbers work. A turn of the key, and hey, looks like it's working. Yes. Alright, let's open it up. Open it up. Yes, it opened. Looks like there's something in here. What's this? A file? So pick up the file. File screen. If you find any documents or notes during an escape, the information on them will be available from the file screen. To open the file screen, touch File in the top right of the bottom screen. Once at the file screen, select Files by touching them, or by pressing the control pad. If you touch Search R, the contents of the file you selected will be displayed on the upper screen. So yeah, let's see what's in this file. Digital root. Yeah, this talks about digital root. It's a very important plot point / thing to help you solve puzzles. So remember this stuff. It's important. Let's see here. Compute a digital root from the following steps. First, add all the numbers in question to one another. If you end up with something greater than a single-digit number, add the digits to one another. For instance, if you have a double-digit number, add the number in the tens place to the number in the ones place. Keep adding digits in this manner until you have a single-digit answer. That final single digit is your digital root. EX, or example, the digital root of 678 would be 6, 7, plus 8 equals 21, 2 plus 1 equals 3. Therefore, the digital root of 678 is 3. EX, the digital root of 1, 2, 3, 4 would be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 equals 10. 1 plus 0 equals 1. Therefore, the digital root of 1, 2, 3, 4 is 1. I see. So I just keep adding numbers until I get a single-digit number. Oh, looks like there's something on the back of this thing. A notebook, a pen, a calculator, and a stack of keycards, huh? Yep, keycards. New material has been added to the file screen. Calculator. The calculator screen can be used during escape or during a novel sequence. During an escape, you can access this by pressing Y. This will open the calculator screen. To operate the calculator, touch the bottom screen. When using the calculator, the numbers on the top are your calculations, and the numbers on the bottom are your answer. Calculator can also calculate digital root, which it will be important to the progression of the story. Yeah, that's a pretty handy feature to have if you're not too math savvy. Okay, so if you didn't know how to solve that, if you weren't like me and haven't beaten the game already, you'd actually go here to pick up the second thing, and then you'd read these. You'd read the blue for the two blue parts for the blue and the two red parts for the red one. First, we need to get the red key, which is in here. Pick up the red key on here and go back. Junpei grabbed the key and shoved it into his pocket. He intended to leave immediately, but something stopped him. His reflection stared back at him from the mirror, but he had scarcely recognized himself. "What's up with my face?" His confusion was well justified. His face was drawn and pale, and the dark circles under his eyes made him look as though he was nearly dead. Man, what the hell happened to me? How did I end up here? Even as he said it, something in his mind opened, and a memory bobbed to the surface. It was the last thing Junpei remembered before waking up in the strange room. It was past midnight when he came home. Junpei shuffled up the stairs and opened the door to apartment 201. Inside was his apartment. A small not 100 bedrooms, one bedroom affair that ran him about $630 a month. He moved into it when he entered college, and so far he'd been there for 3 years and 7 months. I think you'd want to use campus dorm rooms instead of paying $630 a month. Whatever. I mean, it's Japan. Maybe they don't have dorms because it's crowded. He stepped inside and turned on the lights. The fluorescent lights on the ceiling blinked and flickered slowly to life, as if waking from a deep slumber. Their cold light illuminated the landscape he'd come home to so many times before. Actually, hold on a second. I'm gonna pause. Alright, I'm back. Everything was as he left it. The magazines piled up in the corner, the textbooks collecting dust. Yeah, more like crappy student. The CD cases covering the floor, the jeans and t-shirt he'd worn the day before, then tossed onto the floor. The There was one thing that didn't belong, however. There was a breeze. Breaths of cold night air wafted into his apartment, carrying the smells of autumn with them. The white curtain framing his window swayed gently in the wind. Huh, that's weird. Did I leave that open? Junpei walked towards the window, trying to remember if he'd closed it or not before he left. One of the panes was hanging open. Oh, excuse me. He stuck his head out and looked around. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Junpei shrugged. He must have just left it open earlier. He closed the window. Then it happened. Surprise! Junpei turned and found himself face to mask with a man dressed all in black. The man wore a deep hood, a bulky gas mask. His face was entirely hidden. Junpei tried to scream, but all he could manage was a strangled croak. He tried to step towards the man, but his legs could no longer support his weight. Junpei collapsed to the floor, a crumpled heap of limbs, like a discarded puppet. Too late, he noticed the white smoke that was quickly filling his apartment. A small object, shaped distressingly like a grenade, sat on the floor in front of his face, hissing. The white smoke poured out of it at an incredible rate. The smoke had grown so thick that the details of Junpei's apartment began to fade into white haze. He could feel his mind begin to fade as well, a white haze that was not the smoke creeping into the edges of his vision. Consider this a privilege. You have been chosen. A rasping voice wormed its way out of the gas mask. It was cold and harsh and distorted in some way Junpei couldn't put his finger on. You are going to participate in a game. The Nonary game. It is a game where you put your life on the line. That was the last thing Junpei remembered. The white smoke overpowered him, and the masked man faded from his vision, and he felt his consciousness fall away into the white mist. That's right. That guy with the gas mask. That son of a bitch must have taken me here. As to who the man was, or might have been, Junpei had no idea. Indeed, he wasn't even sure that his assailant had been a man. The voice had been cold and mechanical, likely passed through a voice changer, and the body had been covered in a thick cloak. Who was the man in the mask? You have been chosen. Junpei remembered that much, but what it might mean, that was beyond him. Junpei had no idea where he was, or why he was there. There was only one thing from his memory that seemed important. You are going to participate in a game, the Nonary game. It is a game where you put your life on the line. The Nonary game, huh? What the hell is a Nonary game? God damn it! With a yell, Junpei drove his fist into the mirror. Alright, cool, so, plot exposition, Junpei got kidnapped, and is now here. One thing that this will teach you, get used to that. There are, pretty much every puzzle room will have a couple sequences where, you know, you pick up an object or examine something, and then there's like, maybe not, there's a sizable amount of people talking about something, or, you know, actually, just get used to people talking all the fucking time. It's really, this game's really text heavy, so, you know, get used to it. But it's totally worth it. Anyway, back to the puzzling. You go over here, open up, and there's the red place. Stick the red key in there. This is just like the blue briefcase. Yes, it is, except it's red. Yep, there's a lock on this one too, and it's not opening. Alright, let's stick that red key in there. It's not opening. In fact, it's not doing anything at all. Well, alright, I take that back. I guess I can move the dial now. So it looks like I'm going to have to put in the right numbers and turn the key. I do that, and this thing should pop right open. Stop talking to yourself. You already know that. You opened the previous one. Let's give it a shot. Operation instructions. Touching the dial will cause it to move to the next number. Enter 4 numbers this way, and then touch the key. If the numbers are correct, it will unlock. Let's see. So, hint hint, the numbers are 7, 4, 8, 5. Yes, I unlocked it. Okay, open it up. It's opening, and there's just some key cards. Yep, red key cards. Go back. Now we can exit this room. Just go over here, click on it with the key cards. These numbers with cards on them. I'm pretty sure this is where I'm supposed to use them. Alright, let's slide this card in and see if it works. And... huh. It's not working? Why? Damn it. No, that's not right. I still have cards I haven't used. Switch over to your second pair of cards, whatever they may be. Or second trio. Damn it, not again. There isn't any more... There aren't any more cards in here. I've only got one other hint. Of course, the files. The file said something about digital root. Digital root. The digital root, huh? What am I supposed to do with... There's a 5 on that door. Do I have to get a digital root of 5? I'm not really sure about this. Whatever, it's worth a shot. Let's see if this works. I'll just slide the cards that give me the digital root of 5 through the reader. Operation instructions. Touch 3 cards to select them. The digital root of the selected cards will be displayed on the top screen. Touching reset will deselect all the currently selected cards. After you've selected 3 cards, touch the device. Okay, so yeah, there's a few combinations that you can get to get the digital root, at least I think. I don't know, but 1, 6, 7, click on the thing there. Alright, I think this is gonna work. There we go. That's the new noise. Huh. Did it just unlock? Well, that was light red, and now it's blue. No doubt about it. There's nothing keeping me in here now. Time to go. Haha. Free at last, bitches! You found it. Accompanied by a wall of angry water, Junpei shot out of the room and into the opposing wall. Gasping to catch his breath, he looked around. I'm gonna cut off the video now, and then I'll post up the next scene, okay?